Picture this. It's late at night, and the room is silent except for the faint hum of your computer. The only light comes from your screen, where red and green candles flicker like tiny flames, alive and unpredictable. Each tick feels personal. Each movement of the chart seems to reflect not just the market, but your very heartbeat. You lean forward, your pulse quickens, and suddenly you're no longer just a trader. You're a passenger on a roller coaster that you didn't design, one that climbs high with euphoria and plunges deep into despair without warning. This is the emotional roller coaster of trading, and unless you learn how to step off, it will control you, drain you, and eventually break you. Trading looks deceptively simple from the outside. To a beginner, it appears logical. Analyze the charts, find a setup, click buy or sell, and wait for profits. It seems like a game of intelligence and discipline, one where the smartest should always win. But anyone who has actually sat in front of a live market with real money on the line knows the truth. Trading is not just about numbers and analysis. It is about emotions. And emotions, more than charts, indicators, or strategies, are what determine whether you succeed or fail. The market doesn't punish you because you misread a candle. It punishes you because you couldn't control your fear, your greed, or your doubt. Think back to your first big win. Remember the adrenaline as the trade moved in your favor, the rush of watching profits climb, the pride that made you feel unstoppable. That high was addictive. It felt better than almost anything else, and it convinced you that you had finally cracked the code. But then came the other side of the ride, the crushing low. Maybe it was the very next trade. Maybe it happened a few days later. Suddenly you gave back your profits and the euphoria vanished. Doubt crept in, frustration followed, and before you knew it, you were questioning not just your trade, but yourself. Why do I keep failing? What's wrong with me? This constant swing between euphoria and despair is what traps so many traders in an endless cycle. Here's the dangerous truth. The roller coaster feeds on your natural instincts. Human beings are wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure. A winning trade feels like pleasure. A losing trade feels like pain. Your brain reacts strongly to both, creating emotional spikes that cloud your judgment. After a big win, greed takes over. You want to replicate the feeling, so you rush into impulsive trades. After a big loss, fear and frustration dominate. You try to erase the pain by revenge trading, over-leveraging, or abandoning your plan. In both cases, you are no longer trading the market. You are trading your emotions. This is why so many traders lose money even when they know what to do. They've studied strategies, memorized indicators, and analyzed patterns. But when real money is on the line, their emotions hijack the process. Fear whispers, what if this trade fails? Greed shouts, don't miss out, take another one. Doubt nags, maybe your system doesn't work. Impatience pushes you into setups that don't match your rules. And by the time you realize what's happening, you've already sabotaged yourself. That's the cruel reality of trading psychology. The battle is never on the chart. The battle is always in your mind. The roller coaster doesn't just affect your trading account. It affects your entire life. You wake up replaying yesterday's losses in your head. You go to bed dreaming about tomorrow's win. Your mood swings rise and fall with your equity curve. When you're winning, you're full of energy, optimistic, and fun to be around. When you're losing, you're angry, frustrated, and quiet, snapping at people who have nothing to do with your trades. This emotional whiplash destroys not only traders' accounts, but also their relationships, their energy, and their passion. Many don't just burn out financially, they burn out emotionally. So what's the first step to breaking free? Awareness. You need to recognize that trading will always trigger emotions. It's unavoidable. You're putting money on the line, and money is tied to survival, status, and security. Of course you will feel something. The problem is not that emotions exist. The problem is that you let them dictate your actions. You cannot control whether you feel fear, greed, or excitement, but you can control whether you act on them. That's where most traders fail. They think the goal is to eliminate emotions, but the real goal is to stop letting emotions drive decisions. If you think about it, the roller coaster exists because you are attaching your self-worth to the outcome of each trade. Every win makes you feel like a winner. Every loss makes you feel like a loser. That attachment is poison. Professional traders don't see a win as proof they're smart or a loss as proof they're stupid. They see both as part of the process. A win is just confirmation they followed their edge. A loss is simply the cost of doing business. That perspective keeps them level-headed, while everyone else rides the emotional highs and lows. Before we go further, let me ask you, are you struggling with fear, doubt, or overtrading? The truth is, most traders don't fail because of bad strategies. They fail because of bad psychology. That's why mastering your mind is the most important skill in trading. Strategies can be copied, indicators can be learned, but psychology must be trained. Without it, no system will save you. With it, even an average system can make you consistent. That's how powerful emotional control really is. Imagine this. Two traders sitting at their screens, both facing the exact same loss. The first trader feels crushed. He stares at the chart in disbelief, his heart pounding, his thoughts racing. I can't believe I lost again. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. The loss feels personal, almost like the market itself reached out and slapped him in the face. He spends hours replaying the mistake, analyzing every tick, looking for an answer that never comes. His emotions build until he takes another impulsive trade, desperate to prove himself right, desperate to erase the pain. That decision leads to another loss, and the spiral continues. Now look at the second trader. He takes the same loss, but his reaction is completely different. He shrugs, leans back in his chair, and calmly says, "That's just one trade. I followed my plan, I managed my risk, and the outcome doesn't define me." Then he walks away, takes a break, and comes back tomorrow ready to trade again. Same event, completely different response. What separates these two traders isn't intelligence or strategy. It's perspective, and perspective comes from one critical skill: emotional detachment. Here's the hard truth most traders never want to face. The market doesn't care about you. It doesn't care if you've had 5 losses in a row, if you desperately need money for rent, or if you're on the edge of blowing your account. The market is neutral. It moves because of billions of decisions made by participants around the world. The only meaning attached to its movement is the meaning you give it. And that meaning, whether you see a loss as failure or just business, determines everything. This is why trading feels so brutal. It doesn't just test your strategy, it tests your identity. Every loss feels like proof that you're not good enough. Every win feels like validation that you've figured it out. That constant attachment between outcomes and self-worth creates an emotional prison. You stop seeing trades as trades and start seeing them as judgments. You believe the market is either rewarding or punishing you personally, when in reality, it's just doing what it always does: moving. Let's break down the psychology behind this. Human beings are wired with what psychologists call loss aversion. We feel the pain of losing money about twice as strongly as we feel the joy of gaining it. That's why one losing trade can erase the emotional impact of 3 or 4 winning trades. Your brain exaggerates the pain, pushing you into fight or flight mode, and suddenly logic is gone. You're no longer a trader. You're a panicked animal trying to escape pain. On the flip side, wins trigger a surge of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. That dopamine hit feels euphoric, almost addictive, and it convinces you to chase the feeling again. This is why the market feels like a casino to so many traders. It's not just about the money. It's about the chemical roller coaster in your brain. Think about how casinos operate. The lights, the sounds, the random wins and losses, all designed to keep you hooked, always chasing, never satisfied. The market works the same way, except it's even more dangerous, because the stakes are tied directly to your survival instincts. When you win, your brain screams, "Do it again!" When you lose, your brain screams, "Fix it now!" Both reactions push you away from discipline and toward destruction. This is why revenge trading is so common. After a loss, You feel compelled to fight back, as if the market personally wronged you. You increase your lot size. You take trades outside your rules. You gamble just to feel whole again. But the market isn't your enemy. It doesn't even know you exist. The only battle is the one happening in your own head. And every time you act on that impulse, you hand your money to traders who have learned to stay calm while you lose control. Another trap is overconfidence. After a series of wins, you feel untouchable. Your ego swells, your rules start to feel unnecessary, and you take risks you would normally avoid. You increase your position size, you chase marginal setups, you break your discipline. Why? Because in that moment you feel like a genius. But the market has a way of humbling overconfident traders. When sudden loss wipes away days or weeks of gains, and with it, your self-esteem crashes. This swing from extreme confidence to crushing doubt is one of the most destructive patterns in trading psychology. Time also plays a brutal role. Unlike most activities, trading doesn't give you instant closure. A trade might last minutes, hours, or even days, and during that time, your emotions simmer in uncertainty. Waiting for an outcome often feels more painful than the outcome itself. Your brain races with questions. Should I exit now? What if it reverses? What if I miss the bigger move? That constant questioning drains your mental energy long before the trade is even over. Many traders exit too early or hold too long, not because of logic, but because they can't handle the discomfort of waiting. This is why the emotional roller coaster is so dangerous. It doesn't just hurt your account. It trains your brain to expect extremes. You begin to anticipate losses before they happen, creating self-fulfilling prophecies. You sabotage trades by closing them too early or chasing after ones you shouldn't take. You start believing the market is against you, when in reality you are against yourself. But here's the key insight. The market is not the problem. The problem is your relationship with it. If you see every loss as proof you're a failure, trading will always feel like torture. If you see every win as proof you're a genius, trading will always feel like a drug. But if you can detach from the outcomes, if you can see wins and losses as neutral events in a long series, the roller coaster begins to flatten. You no longer rise and fall with every tick. You become steady, calm, and consistent while others burn out. That's the goal. Not to eliminate emotions, because that's impossible, but to shrink their power over you. To feel fear and not obey it. To feel greed and not chase it. To feel doubt and still follow your plan. Professional traders are not emotionless robots. They feel the same highs and lows as everyone else. The difference is, they don't let those feelings dictate their actions. They ride the waves without letting the waves control their direction, and that is the seatbelt on the roller coaster. Discipline. Discipline doesn't make the highs and lows disappear, but it keeps you safe while you experience them. Without it, every spike of emotion throws you off course. With it, you can stay on track no matter how wild the ride becomes. Discipline is the seatbelt, but let's be honest, most traders don't want to wear it. They resist it because it feels restrictive, almost suffocating. Rules tell them not to take that tempting trade, not to chase that setup, not to double down after a loss. And in the moment, ignoring the rules feels like freedom. But that false freedom comes at a cost. It's the cost of inconsistency, the cost of emotional chaos, the cost of accounts blown and dreams destroyed. The irony is that the very discipline they resist is the only thing that can actually keep them free in the long run. Without it, the roller coaster owns them. With it, they own their journey. Think about a gladiator entering the arena. He doesn't step onto the sand unprepared, hoping instinct will save him. He enters with armor, weapons, and strategy. The market is no different. Every time you open a trade without rules, you are stepping into the arena naked, surrounded by opponents who are armed and disciplined. You might win one battle by luck, but eventually the arena takes its toll. The traders who survive year after year are not the ones swinging wildly. They are the ones who show up with structure, patience, and discipline, ready for the long game. Now let's dig deeper into why discipline feels so hard. At its core, trading magnifies every weakness you already have. If you struggle with patience, the market will test it daily. If you crave certainty, the market will strip it from you at every turn. If your ego needs to be right, the market will humble you again and again. Trading is like holding up a mirror to your own psychology. It reflects your fears, your greed, your insecurities. That's why it feels so personal, because it is personal. The market doesn't just challenge your account balance. It challenges your identity, and yet the solution isn't to eliminate those emotions. It's to learn to coexist with them. Fear will whisper before every entry. Greed will shout when profits rise. Doubt will nag when trades stall. You can't silence those voices completely, but you can lower their volume by anchoring yourself to a process. That process becomes your shield. It gives you something solid to hold on to when your emotions are trying to throw you off balance. Let's make this practical. Imagine two traders again. Both see the same setup. One jumps in impulsively, driven by the fear of missing out. He takes a huge position, no stop loss, convinced this is the one. The other trader pauses. He reviews his plan. He checks his risk. He sizes his position carefully. Both traders may experience the same emotions: fear, excitement, doubt, but only one of them has structure to fall back on. When the trade moves against him, the impulsive trader panics, doubles down, and eventually blows up. The disciplined trader simply takes his stop, logs the trade, and moves on. The difference isn't intelligence. It's the ability to act according to plan instead of according to feeling. This is why routines matter so much. A pre-market ritual grounds you before the chaos begins. Maybe it's reviewing your rules, visualizing discipline, or simply checking your mindset before clicking a button. Risk management rules are not just about numbers. They are emotional guardrails. A maximum daily loss, a fixed position size, or a hard stop loss aren't just financial tools. They're psychological boundaries that protect you when emotions flare. And end-of-day reviews keep you accountable. They force you to see the truth, not the story your emotions want to tell. Think of discipline as building walls around your trading mind. Without walls, emotions rush in like a flood, drowning every decision. With walls, the water still rises, but it doesn't overwhelm you. The walls keep the chaos contained so you can think clearly. This is why professional traders often seem boring. They take the same setups with the same risk day after day. They log trades, follow rules, and avoid drama. There are no fireworks in consistency, but there is freedom. Freedom from stress, freedom from emotional chaos, freedom to survive long enough to let your edge play out. And here's something most beginners don't realize. Boredom is a sign of mastery. If trading feels exciting every day, you're probably doing it wrong. Excitement means you're gambling, chasing highs, feeding emotions. True trading is steady, almost mundane. It's logging your trades, managing your risk, repeating the process. It's the same checklist every morning and the same discipline every night. And while that may not give you an adrenaline rush, it gives you something far more valuable: longevity. But let's address the elephant in the room. If discipline is so simple, why do so few traders actually practice it? Because discipline requires humility. You must admit that you're not smarter than the market. You must accept that you will be wrong often. You must face the reality that losses are inevitable, and that no amount of intelligence or analysis will protect you from them. Ego hates that truth. Ego wants to be right, to win every trade, to prove itself. And ego is the fuel that keeps traders strapped into the roller coaster. Until you let go of the need to always be right, you'll never step off the ride. Consider this: professional traders lose all the time. Some of the best in the world are wrong more often than they're right. But they win because they manage risk, because they stay disciplined, because they understand that trading is a game of probabilities, not perfection. A losing trade doesn't define them. A winning trade doesn't inflate them. They remain steady, balanced, consistent. That steadiness is what separates professionals from gamblers. So how do you build that steadiness? Start small. Create rules that are easy to follow. Maybe it's limiting yourself to 2 trades per day. Maybe it's refusing to move your stop loss no matter what. Maybe it's risking the same percentage on every trade, whether you feel confident or not. These small acts of discipline are like training your mind in the gym. Every time you follow through, you strengthen your ability to resist emotions. And over time, those small acts compound into unshakable consistency. Now ask yourself, do you want to be entertained or do you want to be consistent? Because you can't have both. The market will happily entertain you with excitement, drama, and emotional highs. But it will charge you a heavy price for the ticket. The traders who survive are not chasing entertainment. They are building boring routines, stacking small wins, and protecting themselves from emotional chaos. They know the roller coaster exists, but they refuse to ride it. So how do you finally step off the roller coaster? How do you stop letting emotions dictate your trades, your account, and your life? The answer isn't a secret strategy, a magic indicator, or some hidden formula. It's a shift in mindset supported by structure. It's about retraining the way you respond to the market, trade after trade, day after day, until discipline becomes second nature. Let's break this down into clear steps, because theory is useless without application. Step 1. Detach your identity from outcomes. The first and most important step is to stop tying your self-worth to wins and losses. A winning trade does not make you a genius, and a losing trade does not make you a failure. Both are simply part of the game. The only thing that matters is whether you followed your process. Judge yourself by discipline, not by outcome. This mindset shift alone reduces emotional swings more than anything else. Think of yourself as a business owner. In business, expenses are normal. In trading, losses are expenses. They don't define you. They're just the cost of playing the game. Step 2, build unbreakable rules. Rules are not optional. They are the guardrails that keep you from driving off a cliff. Without them, every emotional spike can throw you off track. Write down your rules. Your maximum daily loss, your position size, your risk per trade, your criteria for entries and exits. Put them somewhere visible. And here's the key. Commit to them no matter what you feel in the moment. Following rules when it's easy means nothing. Following rules when your emotions scream against them is where discipline is built. Step 3. Create rituals to anchor your mindset. Before you open a chart, prepare your mind. Review your rules. Visualize yourself following them and check your emotions. If you feel stressed, anxious, or desperate, step away. You don't need to fight the market every day. Sometimes the best trade is no trade at all. After trading, review your decisions. Not just the outcomes, but whether you respected your plan. Over time, these rituals create a rhythm that stabilizes your emotions. Step 4. Embrace patience. Most traders lose because they can't wait. They crave constant action, constant adrenaline, constant opportunities. But trading doesn't reward impatience. It punishes it. The market is a waiting game. You don't need to take 10 trades a day. You need to take the right trades when your edge appears. Patience is boring, yes, but boring is profitable. Train yourself to wait by limiting your trades. When in doubt, do nothing. Doing nothing is often the most profitable action you can take. Step 5. Accept uncertainty. This is the truth most traders never accept. No trade is guaranteed. No analysis, no indicator, no signal can predict the future with certainty. If you seek certainty, you will always feel anxious, always feel betrayed when trades fail. But if you accept uncertainty, you free yourself. You stop demanding that every trade works, and you start focusing on probabilities. Over time, probabilities play out. Your job is not to be perfect. Your job is to be consistent. Step 6, practice humility. Ego destroys traders. It makes you hold losers too long, double down when you shouldn't, and ignore your rules. True strength in trading is the ability to admit you're wrong quickly and move on. Professionals don't care about being right. They care about protecting capital and playing the long game. Humility means cutting losses without shame, taking wins without arrogance, and remembering that the market is bigger than you. Step 7. Redefine losses and wins. Here's a radical mindset shift. A losing trade that followed your plan is a victory. A winning trade that broke your rules is a failure. Think about that. If you followed your rules, you succeeded, even if the trade lost. Because in the long run, discipline is what pays you. This reframe turns losses into learning opportunities and removes their emotional sting. Suddenly, every trade is a chance to practice discipline, not a personal test of worth. Now, let's address the bigger picture. Emotional freedom is not about removing emotions. It's about mastering them. Fear, greed, doubt, they will always exist. The question is not whether they appear, but whether you let them drive the car. Right now, many traders let emotions hold the wheel while they sit in the back seat, terrified. But the moment you take back control, the ride changes. You still feel the bumps, but they don't control your direction. Here's the ultimate paradox. The more boring trading becomes, the more exciting your life outside trading can be. When you're not consumed by the roller coaster, you sleep better. You think clearer. You enjoy relationships, hobbies, and freedom. Trading stops being your emotional prison and starts being what it was always meant to be, a tool to create freedom. And that freedom isn't just financial, it's emotional. So ask yourself, how much longer can you afford to stay on the ride? How many accounts can you blow before you realize the problem isn't the market, it's you? How many sleepless nights will you endure before you decide that discipline is worth the boredom? Every trader faces this choice eventually. Some ignore it and burn out. Others face it, embrace it, and transform. The emotional roller coaster will always be there, waiting for you to climb aboard. It will tempt you with the rush of quick wins, the thrill of adrenaline, the fantasy of instant riches. But it will always end the same way, with exhaustion, frustration, and loss. The question is, will you keep riding it or will you step off? Because stepping off doesn't just save your account. It saves your energy, your peace, your future. The traders who survive aren't the ones who chase highs or avoid lows. They are the ones who find balance, who master discipline, who treat trading like a business instead of a thrill ride. That balance is the line between gambler and professional, between failure and freedom. Now it's your turn. Decide. Will you let emotions dictate your path, or will you take control? The market won't wait. The roller coaster won't stop. But you can. And once you do, you'll never want to ride it again.